Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. Today we have some really big news coming out of the League of Legends world. We have the full patch notes for 10.21. Yesterday we did the patch 10.21 preview where we talked about all the champions that are going to be getting buffs and nerfs, but today we're actually going to be going over the full changes. Before we get in this one, I just wanted to mention real quick, we're actually live right now on twitch.tv/I_am_germ. If you would consider checking us out over there, dropping a follow, maybe even hitting us with a Twitch Prime if you are so inclined, that would be awesome. Also, making sure you subscribe here on YouTube so you can stay up to date on all my latest content. With that being said, here we go, getting right into this one. Talking about the first change, which is going to be Nimbus Cloak receiving a movement speed, looks like nerf early on, but buff later on. A 5% nerf at the beginning. It's going to be even, and then at the end, you're getting a 5% movement speed increase, which should be interesting, and the duration is going to be decreased a little bit. So, looks like they're just shifting some power away. Obviously, it is going to be a little bit of a nerf, having the time go down from 2.5 to 2. But overall, I don't think it's going to gut Nimbus Cloak or anything. I think it's still going to be very strong and very versatile and good in so many situations. Next up, we have the nerfs. Samira nerfs, everyone gets excited about those. Those are always fun. A lot of people love to hate Samira, especially recently. So she's getting her E cooldown bumped up in the early game by 5 seconds, which is a massive nerf. That's a huge cooldown increase. And then her E attack speed is also getting decreased. So two pretty substantial nerfs to Samira. Should see her bump down a peg, because honestly, she's been pretty broken in the bot lane. Hecarim is getting his E base damage decreased by 10 at all levels, and his E base damage max decreased by 20 at all levels. That'll be a pretty big nerf to him, but he's been really dominant in the meta recently. Again, I don't think that absolutely guts him. I think he's still definitely going to be playable and a strong pick. Graves is getting his E armor per stack decreased. It's going to make his clear a little bit more unhealthy and him able to be punished a little bit more by some AD junglers. Nidalee AD going down by 3. Again, that's gonna lower her clear speed, or it's gonna make her clear a lot slower. Not a lot slower, but significantly slower, which should hopefully help keep her in line with some of the other junglers, so she doesn't have such massive farm leads and able to punish people so hard. Camille getting that E attack speed decrease later on in the game. She scales like an absolute monster, so hitting her in the late game I think is a nice nerf. And then finally, Pantheon support. They're trying to hit some power away from Pantheon support, shift him back into being a solo laner. Q damage is going to be decreased by 5 in the early game and by 25 later on, with an increase in the AD percentage. And then the Q Mortal Will bonus damage scaling is going from 100 to 115%. So that should be interesting to see how that plays out. Obviously, you need to get some more items and build some more AD now to be able to do more damage, which is going to make it worse for supports and hopefully better for solo laners. Next up, we have the buffs. 6 buffs coming in. Corki getting that Q base AD ratio going from 50 to 70%. Aphelios, lethality stat passive from 2 to 12 to 3 to 18. Calibrum R additional mark damage is getting increased. Gravitum root is getting increased by about 1/4 of a second. Severum healing is getting increased, and the Infernum R splash damage is increased by 10%. Crescendum R chakrams generated going from 3 to 4. Aphelios is so crazy. He has so much different stuff going on in his kit. Whenever he gets buffed or nerfed, there's always, it's just a mouthful all the time, and I don't ever know exactly how it's going to play out, because this is a bunch of different buffs, but obviously he can only use 1 or 2 of them at a time. It's definitely going to make him better. I don't know how much better. I'll have to see once we actually get our hands on him in game and stuff. But if you're an Aphelios player, get excited. If you're not, pretty much anyone else, probably don't get too excited, because he's kind of an annoying champion. Trundle getting his passive healing increased. Smooth scaling by level, and his W cooldown is getting decreased later on in the game. I think that I always like these changes where the W cooldown actually changes when you put points in it. I think it feels a lot better. And Trundle wasn't far out of meta, so he might see some resurgence, especially in lower elos and stuff. He's a really easy jungler to pull off. Lee Sin getting that 80 per level increased by half, which that's pretty crazy. That's actually a pretty significant buff for a champion like Lee Sin. That honestly might put him over the edge, because he hasn't been too terrible recently. That'll be interesting to see. You might have some Lee Sins inting in your game pretty soon, so watch out for that. Karma, her passive mantra cooldown refunded for spells is going to be increased, and passive mantra cooldown refunded for attacks is going to be decreased at all levels. Our cooldown is going to be decreased as well. Karma, never a champion I love to see getting buffed. She's okay if she's strong in support, but once she starts getting too strong, she becomes a top laner, she becomes a mid laner. We don't like to see that. And finally, the last change coming to us in this patch is Udyr getting his R pulse total damage increased from 40 to 240 to 50 to 300, which is a pretty significant buff later on in the game. But that's pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below. Which change are you most excited about in this patch? Is there a change that you love? Is there a change that you hate? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe to update on the latest content. Hopefully I catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.